Hello everybody and welcome to days 8 and 9 of summer intervention, July 15th and 16th. This screencast is for any student who has chosen the path of teacher-assigned tasks. If you're working on the Passion Project, you should be watching the other screencasts, so please take now to sign out. Again, this screencast is for those students who are completing the teacher-assigned tasks. As always, we want to start off by just reminding you that we're here, we're available, we're happy to help. Here are our emails. We also, of course, are going to have our Google Meets, and Miss Harris has an additional schedule that you can click here if you'd like to scope it out. As we've probably already mentioned this week, we're just going to meet groups A and B, C and D, E and F, G and H 5 days a week just to say hi, check in. That way it's not so confusing. So here are the meet links. We'll be there for the beginning parts of the period. So let's say like 9 to 9:25, 9 to 9:30, with then the goal that you have the rest of the time to work once we get you started and see how you're doing. Again, this is days 8 and 9, Wednesday, July 15th, and Thursday, July 16th for teacher-assigned tasks. Earlier in the week with Miss Harris, you reviewed a nonfiction skill at looking at important details versus interesting details. And often in nonfiction, that's something we can really kind of blur the line. So hopefully that's a skill that you can kind of now add into your toolbox and continue to use. Today, we're going to add another great nonfiction skill specifically. We noticed how great you are at the power words on Newsela, and we really wanted to lean into this strength of yours. So today, we're going to practice reading an article to determine meaning of vocab based on clues in the sentences or the surrounding sentences. Often in nonfiction, authors use challenging or new vocabulary words, so it's great to review some of these strategies. Again, this work is for 2 days, so based on your progress, you should split it up accordingly. We'll give you some suggestions on that. Over the course of the 2 days, we're going to ask you to watch this screencast. You're going to log into your summer account. There's going to be an article called Artists Showcase Important Women Through Watercolor and Words. You're going to complete our ELA task and the quiz for Newsela. So take a minute and kind of look at how you might break it up. And we also want to encourage you to continue to use the strategies from last week, looking at repeating words in addition to important versus interesting details. So now this would be like our third specific strategy in terms of diving into nonfiction. So determining meaning based on clues is often looking at how the author has tried to be a little tricky, specifically in nonfiction. Very often when it comes to new vocab words or important words that might be unknown because you're reading about a new topic, the author usually will include the meaning in the sentence itself, maybe in a footnote, or maybe in a sentence around it. So it's important to be aware of those things. So what we have here is 3 example sentences and 3 different strategies that we want you to be on the lookout for. All of these come from a book called Penguins. The first one says, so each year penguins molt, their feathers fall out. Molt is the new or challenging word here. The strategy that we use to figure that out is that the definition follows a dash. So you want to look out for dashes and commas used by the author to sneak in definitions. Sometimes they also use keywords or phrases, and that's what we're going to look at in the next 2 samples. These penguins used to make their nests out of their own poop, called guano. It's a funny sentence, but it uses the word called to indicate the definition. So, they use a word, comma, called, definition. It seems so simple, but very often that's how authors are going to indicate these new or challenging words definitions. Krill are like tiny shrimps. Again, they used key words here, are like, to indicate the definition. Another strategy specifically with nonfiction is to look at the text features. So the pictures, the captions, the diagrams, and the word banks. Very often in nonfiction, they're going to encourage you to have access immediately to the definition so that you can help to understand the article or whatever you're reading or researching faster. And that way you can just get right down to it. So this is our strategy that we're practicing for today, determining meaning based on clues. This was our teacher model. And now we're going to ask you to do that in terms of some independent work. We're going to ask you to complete this table below after watching this screencast. We're going to ask you to find 3 words that are new or challenging. So they might not be totally new, but you could see where, the author used a strategy here to define it, right? Because we then want you to identify the strategies you use to determine the word's meaning. So this is really important. You know, it's not just about being able to figure out the meaning of the word, but it's also for you as a reader to be able to say, I'm using this strategy, so that you know you can dive back into these whenever you come across a word that is challenging. So on the left-hand side, we're going to ask you just to simply put the word, or you can put the sentence since you're probably going to be copying and pasting. And on the right-hand side, explain strategies you use to determine the meaning. You can go back to the teacher model and look at the strategies used there, because there's probably going to be a lot like that. Or you can also always share another strategy that is already in your toolbox if you have something that works for you. We do not want you to answer Google or, I don't know, dictionary, right? We're looking for you to use the actual text itself to figure out the words. So please don't write that and expect that then we think you gathered the skill. So take a minute, review this as needed, and remember that we're going to be on for our Google Meets. We can't wait to chat with you this week, and we're excited for Friday tomorrow. So hopefully we will see you there.